All right, so hello everyone. This is Naveen Samuel. This is podcast number 13 from the podcast series Front Office Success, and I am with today with Laura Hatch. Did I say that last name correctly?
You did, yep, like down the hatch. Yep.
Hopefully not today.
Yeah.
She is a dental office manager in San Diego, California, and you're also the founder and owner of Front Office Rocks.
That's right.
Yeah. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I don't know if it's good luck or not being number 13, huh?
Well, 13 is actually a very lucky number in a lot of cultures. Probably not in the American culture, but
yeah. Okay, good. Then I'm good with it.
So yeah, I mean, I've been kind of following you. I've heard about you from other people, and I've visited your website many times. I watched another interview that you did, and I said, hey, I got to have you on our program. So I'm glad you responded.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah. So first of all, I gave you a very brief introduction. I've read your story a little bit, but I really want to hear from you. I mean, can you give us a little bit more about your background?
Sure. So my background prior to dental was human resources, sales, management. Like I had a whole business background. I was in outside sales. I was a recruiter. And when I was an undergrad, I met a guy and I said, what do you want to be when you get older? And he said, a dentist. And I was like, ugh. But I was lucky enough to marry him. So that's kind of how I got into dentistry. I supported my husband all through dental school. He was an associate for a few years out of dental school, but then decided in 2003 to open a scratch practice. So that's really kind of how I got brought into dental. My husband said, you've got management experience, sales, business experience, you run the front and I'll be in the back. But what I found was I did have this experience, but I knew nothing about dentistry. Like I didn't know teeth had numbers and surfaces. I didn't know dental codes. I didn't know anything. So I really kind of had to figure it out on my own. I went and saw some of the best speakers out there. The first person I ever saw was Linda Miles. And I was like, oh, I want to be like her one day, and I went and read all the articles, and we didn't have podcasts back then to learn from them. And we just kind of had to figure it out. So I figured out how to be an office manager. And since then, we've had 2 successful offices. We had one in Baltimore. And then we sold that practice in 2007 because we had come to San Diego and loved the weather out here. So decided to move to San Diego. So I've had the opportunity to open 2 scratch practices, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, one in a good economy, 2003, one in a bad economy in 2008. So I've had a lot of experience with running dental offices. And so that's kind of how I got walked into being an office manager in dental. And then I decided to start my own company a couple of years ago to really help other people who are finding themselves in the same scenario. I'm new to dental, or I'm in dental, but I want to do better. I'm not sure. The doctor's asking me to confirm all the appointments, make sure everybody shows up, make sure our AR is low, make sure, people pay when they leave. And I've never been trained on how to do that. So what I've done with Front Office Rocks is developed a training program to help other people who are looking to improve in the front desk.
That's great. That was going to be my next question is, how did you decide this services? So people just approached you then, they wanted to know how did you get trained? But you mentioned earlier that you were just kind of thrown in. So
yeah.
How often do you meet people doing what you do as far as a front office receptionist or front office biller or office manager who are just thrown into their position without any formal training?
Right. Well, and it's not just necessarily the new people that I focus on. It's really my whole focus. And the reason we have built 2 successful practices is there's more to running a dental office than just knowing the codes and the teeth. It's important to know customer service. It's important to know the right verbal skills. It's important to make sure that the patients feel welcome and you treat them well. It's important to have systems in place. That's all of the things that make us different than some of the practices that I feel are struggling. And so I focused Front Office Rocks to really help employees. The doctors don't tend to get a lot of business and management training in dental school. They teach them how to be a dentist and they send them off in the world and say, good luck, So my hope was to be able to be that middleman between the dentist who says, fill my schedule, and the staff going, I'm trying, I don't know what else to do, and to give them resources. I've had the opportunity to meet, I'm also a speaker, so I travel the country speaking. And so that's where I've met so many staff saying, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I realized that there was really something missing to help the staff in the how to do their jobs, the why behind their job. I mean, if an employee understands why it's important to do something, they're going to be more motivated to do it and do it well for the doctor. So that's really kind of how I got motivated to start a training program.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned you're a speaker, and so do you speak at ADOM ever?
I spoke last year at ADOM, but I'm looking to hopefully speak more. I mean, I love ADOM, and I've had the opportunity to speak at one of the townie meetings, and then I do a lot of study clubs and Patterson branches and that type of a thing. But my hope is to eventually do some more like Midwinter, ADA, Hinman, the bigger meetings is what I'm hoping for next.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, ADOM's definitely a good resource for a lot of people. I mean, I know they do help. They've specialized in front office. And
yes,
nice to talk to somebody who also specializes in front office too. I know I talked to dental consultants, and they do the entire office, and that's very important what they do. But part of the reason why I started this podcast series is to focus on the front office, and but also to tie the entire team together.
Yeah,
not just the back office from the front office.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think I love ADOM. I'm actually a fellow of ADOM, so I've gone through the fellowship, and I send everybody, any office manager, practice administrator to ADOM. It's an amazing group, and that's great for office managers. What my focus is now for me, it's more of the employees in the team in the front, the receptionist, the scheduler, the PR person, the whoever, because I just feel like there's dental assisting classes you can go to. There's hygiene CE you can go to. The doctor can go to CE, but there's really hasn't been much for us, like help me with my job. I mean, there's a little bit of software training that you can go to, Dentrix or EagleSoft, but there really hasn't been much to, there's this employee out in the middle of a small town and she's trying to learn how to do her job better. And if she doesn't have a resource to help her, she kind of feels, she or he feels that they're just out there, trying to make it go right.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. So can you give us a specific example of let's say an office that I think you mentioned something about your typical office or a typical client, but can you talk specifically about an office that you were able to help out, or a front office staff that you're able to see the before and after of how that worked out?
Yeah. I have a couple examples. I have one office that signed up with me. My training is all online, so they signed up with me, and their receptionist / office, coordinator up front, watched 3 or 4 videos. I have videos on everything, how to handle new patient questions, how to handle shopper calls, and how to handle cancellations, whatever. So she watched 3 or 4 of the videos, and that afternoon, the very first day they signed up, she got the call that says, "How much is your crown?" Mm-hmm. And typically she would dance around it a little bit, maybe give them a price. She didn't know how to handle those questions. Okay. And from the training she got from the videos, she turned that call into a consultation, and they closed a crown the next day with that patient. So that crown consult paid for the training in itself in one day, right? Yeah. All the way to the point where I've met so many people who were brand new to dental, who just got thrown into, here, start answering the phones. And so they've learned along the way using the videos. And now I have one, it's in Virginia. She's the office manager of the doctor's second location now. So she started as a receptionist with no experience. She did my training. She's now the office manager of the second location, and she's training the new receptionist with the training that I have. So I've got stories from little one-person offices to, 3, 4, 5, 7 locations where people are all using the training because it can be done in their office easily as they need it, which is the biggest thing.
Good.
Yeah.
It's funny that I'm sure that could be a great promo for you. A single crown can pay for all when you're training there. But I'm sure you do more beyond just that. I mean, you mentioned three. So are these video trainings, or like how do you train? Is it reading materials?
So what I do is they're all the main focus of Front Office Rocks is online training. So the videos, it's a subscription-based website. So the doctor pays $149 a month, and then as many people as you have that need training or want training have their own logins, and they can do the training. There's over 180 videos, and I add new videos all the time. So I'm an office manager, so I know things come up. You know, like I was just in my office the other day and somebody handled an insurance question incorrectly, and it gave me an idea. I'm like, I need a video on that. So I add videos all the time, and I make them real life in the sense that we film a lot of it in my office. So I'm kind of opening the doors to my office saying, hey, this is how I would recommend you do it. Now, I always say, check back with your doctor, make sure you know what your doctor wants done, but I at least can show some real life examples for staff to see, you know, how to handle an angry patient when they come in with their EOB in hand, or, you know, somebody who wants the fee over the phone or whatever it is. So the main training is online. All the videos are 5 to 10 minutes long, max. So you can watch something, you know, take 10 minutes away from your desk, grab a cup of coffee, watch a video. There's a quiz at the end to make sure that you understand and retained what you learned. And then there's policies, procedures, documents, articles, everything you would need. So if you're having an issue, let's say with cancellations, you can go on and search, show me everything in this site that has to do with cancellations. And it's going to pull for you the videos or the articles I've written or policies I've written. So that way you can take it and use it in your office, you know, when you need it at the time that you need it.
Wow. That's 100. I'm still amazed. 180 videos. How long did it take all these videos?
I have a lot to say. I've been working on these for almost 3 years now. So
are there
yeah,
different levels of training? Like there's a beginner level, an intermediate level, an advanced level. Is it, would you say that?
That's not how they're broken down. I have them broken down by position. So I have receptionist, scheduler, treatment coordinator, you know, financial coordinator, and office manager. And then in each position, there's subcategories. So for example, receptionist, we have 6 subcategories in there. And one of them is new to dental, because most of the time people who are new to the front office are going to start in reception or as the receptionist. So we do have a thing on there where I talk about teeth and what are procedures and what are codes. And then, you know, as you kind of work your way through receptionist, that probably the next progression would be you start scheduling. So the training is going to be about scheduling. And then after that, maybe you start doing more treatment coordinator consultation. So the idea of it is you evolve from receptionist and hopefully you grow into potential office manager, you know, down the road, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah. But it's funny how you said that if you're new, you're going to take the receptionist position, but that seems to be the most dangerous position to give somebody who's brand new.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it. At least the part of answering the phones, that's really where, and I'm sure you agree with this, that's really where my heart started. I get so frustrated when dentists who spend money on marketing and asking for referrals, and then they take a brand new employee and they stick them on the phones. Right. It's like, so minimally, if you're going to do that, sign up for Front Office Rocks and make them watch. There's 6 videos on how to answer the phones just for the new patient part of it. Get them on the videos first before they start answering the phones, minimally.
So that could take like 6 videos could probably take about 60 minutes or so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't take very long. And if a lot of my clients are using it too, that they're kind of using it for making sure that the employees are retaining well and are going to do well if they're a new employee, for example. So it's not rocket science what I teach. I mean, it's how to answer phones, how to do customer service, how to handle patients. And you have to get an 80% on the quiz to pass the quiz. Well, if you can't get an 80% on a video that's only 10 minutes long about how to offer great customer service, maybe this isn't the right position for you. Maybe you can't, you know, so some people use it for just kind of weeding out potential candidates or making sure that they're going to be a good fit for their office.
Yeah. Or it could just mean you need more training, you need more guidance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's people out there that are that have been in their position for a very, very, very long time. And sometimes it's hard for them to learn new stuff. They're like, well, I already know everything they need to know, but they don't realize that there's a lot more room for improvement.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm a big advocate, and that's what we titled this, of continual training. Okay. And I believe that this training can be used and should be used not only for new employees, but even current employees, because we tend to adapt to make things easier. We tend to forget what made us successful in the beginning. We tend to, you know, to take the shortcuts over time. So the videos or the idea of continual training is to just kind of remind yourself, oh, that's right. You just think of little things like maybe I don't stand up anymore and shake the patient's hand when they walk in and welcome them. Maybe I'm too focused on doing insurance claims and not paying attention to the patient in the lobby. So I'm a big advocate of continual training. Doctors have to get CE every year. Hygienists have to go get more training every year. Why shouldn't the front office team also have training just to make sure that our skills are where they should be? Or maybe we can learn a new pearl, a new thing that, we hadn't realized. So with this training, because it's non-invasive, meaning you log in online, I give you suggestions. I'm not coming in your office telling you you're doing something wrong. I'm not standing over you, changing the way you do things. A lot of the senior employees, the ones who've been there for a while, like the training because it just gives them, I don't know, enhancements, little perks, little, hey, don't forget about this, versus having somebody over them telling them they need to change what they're doing, because change isn't always easy for everyone.
Sure. No, I agree with that. Let's see, how much time do we have? I think we're getting close to our time that we were agreed that we were going to end the podcast today, but I think I can talk to you a lot more about everything that's going on there. But
I told you I have 180 videos. I have a lot to say. Ask my husband.
I think you can briefly talk about one of the latest examples you had, whether there was, whatever you want to talk about. But as far as somebody who was in the industry for a long time, but they were still kind of stuck in one area and they weren't able to get to the next level.
Yeah, I have one office manager who she has a big practice. It's in Northern California, and she's been doing this for years, and they're very successful, and she's a great office manager. And she brought the training in specifically to kind of help her team, take some weight off of her about training. There was turnover at the front, and she used the training for that. But what she found from this training was it opened up discussions between her and her team. I mean, she's been doing this for 15, 20 years, and she didn't realize she was kind of set in her ways. This is the way we do it all the time. And by seeing the videos and seeing examples of how we do it in our office, just as, here's how we do handoffs, and here's the reason why. She reached out to me, and they've actually gone up quite a bit. Wow. Based off of the videos, just because their systems are getting a little bit more fluid, or more in line, because she hadn't realized that she had gotten herself so ingrained in one way. So for me, that was huge, because it's just kind of like another office manager going, hey, here you go. Here's some more suggestions. We don't ever get the opportunity to go into each other's offices and learn from each other. I mean, I would love to see how some offices do things great, and there's some that don't and can learn. And so that for me is huge, to be able to help, somebody who's been in the industry for 2 days or 20 years.
Yeah. And I've seen speakers, excellent speakers, mm-hmm. who are very sought after, speak at the big conventions. But there is a slight disconnect with them as far as they're not actively practicing in the field, even though they're helping out a lot of people and they get great, amazing results. The fact that you're still right at the front lines and teaching and training, that says a lot right there.
Yeah, I was just thinking of some new videos for the site, and I have a background in recruiting. And so we just did group interviews because we hired a new receptionist the other night, and I was teaching my doctors, different things about what we're looking for, what kind of answers we're looking for, when a person says something, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And I thought, oh my gosh, what a great video, because if I'm teaching my own doctors that, I'm sure there's some other doctors out there that would love to know, give me some good interview questions. So that's really what I like, is that I can flow what we're doing in our office, and if it's happening in our office, it's probably happening in others, and put it on the site and be able to help a lot more offices. I feel this way than if I were to come in office, because then I can only help one office at a time. Versus this way, I can help hopefully hundreds or thousands of offices with whatever they have going on, in their office.
Good. That's very good. Well, all great information. I'm amazed to see how fast, you're seeing these results coming. A lot of times consulting is one of those, it is a long process. A consultant, and and seeing results. Results are not immediate. They're not always overnight. There are some great stories out there of overnight success, but it can take time. But I'm seeing like results. You're the examples that you use. I mean, it's like same day results. This is amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been I kind of think I tapped into an area that was really missing in our industry. I think there's amazing consultants out there, like you said. I think there's amazing, speakers out there, and that's great. And eventually one day I'd love to speak at the big meetings like I talked about. But I'm really, for me, if I walk into a room, if the doctors don't know who I am, that's okay. But when the employees come up to me and they know who I am and they've learned, to me, that's really where my heart is to really make sure that the employees, because they're the ones up in the front lines dealing with the patients all the time.
Yeah, that's true. They see and witness a lot of things that the back office doesn't really get to see that much.
And they can make or break it. I mean, they really, their attitude, their communication with the front and back, their doctor, that really, I mean, we have a huge impact in the dental office, and I think there should be some respect there, and then training, associated with it.
Yeah. Laura, I'd love to have another podcast or interview with you, probably in a few months, and I'd love to talk about just front office communication. And
yes,
I know that could be a big topic right there.
Yes.
So, before we end our podcast, can you just give us some contact information as far as your website address, email address, and I'll also post this on Facebook as well as the YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, it's Front Office Rocks. I was trying to decide what to name it, and we decided Front Office Rocks. Our dental office is Scripps Rock Dental. It's kind of that rock and roll theme. And the idea behind it is I feel like the front office staff, we rock, we're it. So the idea is Front Office Rocks. So you just go to Front Office Rocks. You can sign up right there. It's $149 a month. You can ask Laura. There's an email to connect to me if you've got any questions. I post much like you do. I'm all about helping teams. So I post on my Facebook page. So like me on Facebook, search me on internet. I've written articles and like you said, been in other interviews, but please feel free to reach out to me because I'm definitely here to try to help as many offices as I can.
Yeah. And you're doing, I have to commend you're doing a terrific job here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out to me too. I know that you and I have very similar ideas in what we want to do in helping teams. So I think we'll both be following each other really well the next, into the future and helping front office teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm still in shock with the 180 videos. That's just.
Well, just alone on answering phones, there's got to be, 25 on, you know what I mean? Because the thing is I'm also kind of targeting the millennials in a way. That in a dental office, we just don't have time to sit down and watch a 1 hour or 2 hour PowerPoint, or webinar. So they're in bite-sized chunks. I have probably 4 just on confirmation calls, different ways, how to handle. But anyway, so the ideas are short, bite-sized, easy to absorb, and then I can add new ones if things change or as things adapt. I can put new stuff on there to help. So when clients reach out to me and they have a question, if I don't have it on the website, that's a great idea for a video or a document, an article to write to help them, but it's also going to help all my other offices.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So.
That is great. Well, hey, Laura, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy woman, so I know this interview was not easy to
coordinate.
That's why
both of us, right? You got a day job too, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what keeps us sharp on our skills. I learn a little bit from everyone I interview, we can keep going on. So that's why I want to schedule another. So we'll probably do it in a couple of months when we get some.
I love that.
Yeah, we'll figure out another topic. I think communication is a big topic, so we can definitely talk about that then.
Yeah, I think that would be great. That'd be a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great day, and
great.
We'll see all you listeners in the next podcast. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.